Bitcoin mining explained in 5 minutes. Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about Bitcoin mining and explain it in just 5 minutes. If you've ever been curious about how new Bitcoins are made and what this whole mining thing is all about, you're in the right place. Let's break it down. What is Bitcoin mining? First, let's start with the basics. Bitcoin mining is the process of creating new Bitcoins and keeping the entire Bitcoin system secure. But how does it work? Unlike regular money, which is controlled by banks or governments, Bitcoin is decentralized. This means no single person, company, or bank is in charge of it. So, who keeps track of all the Bitcoin transactions? That's where miners come in. Miners use powerful computers to solve really difficult math problems. These problems are so hard that they can't be solved by hand. In fact, they're even tough for computers. But once a miner solves one of these problems, they get to add a new group of transactions to the Bitcoin network. This group of transactions is called a block, and adding it to the network is what we call adding it to the blockchain, which is like a big public record of every Bitcoin transaction ever made. How do miners get paid? Here's where it gets interesting. When a miner successfully adds a block to the blockchain, they get rewarded with new Bitcoin. Right now, the reward is 6.25 Bitcoins for every block they add. That might not sound like much, but 6.25 Bitcoins can be worth a lot of money depending on the price of Bitcoin at the time. This reward is how new Bitcoins are introduced into circulation. Why are these math problems so difficult? You might wonder, why do the math problems have to be so hard? Well, that's intentional. The more difficult the problems, the slower new Bitcoins are created. The goal is to make sure that new Bitcoins are made at a steady pace. Right now, a new block is added to the blockchain about every 10 minutes. As more people try to mine Bitcoin and compete to solve these problems, the difficulty of the puzzles increases. This helps keep the system balanced. Mining requires special equipment. Back in the early days of Bitcoin, anyone could mine using a regular computer. But those days are long gone. Today, Bitcoin mining requires special equipment known as ASICs, or application-specific integrated circuits. These machines are designed specifically for mining Bitcoin and are way more powerful than your average home computer. The problem is, they can be really expensive and they use a lot of electricity. The environmental impact of mining. One of the big challenges with Bitcoin mining is the amount of energy it uses. Since thousands of miners around the world are constantly working to solve these math problems, the energy consumption is enormous. Some people are concerned about how this affects the environment, especially as the Bitcoin network continues to grow. Is Bitcoin mining profitable? Now, you're probably wondering, is Bitcoin mining worth it? Well, it depends on several things. First, you need to consider the cost of the equipment you're using. ASICs are expensive, and you'll also need to account for the electricity they use. Second, the price of Bitcoin can go up and down. When Bitcoin's price is high, mining can be very profitable. But if the price drops, miners may find themselves spending more money on electricity than they're making in Bitcoin. So, while mining can be a great way to earn Bitcoin, it's not always easy or cheap. Why is Bitcoin mining important? Finally, let's talk about why Bitcoin mining is so important. Mining is the backbone of the Bitcoin network. Without it, new Bitcoins wouldn't be created, and the system wouldn't be able to verify transactions. Every time a miner solves a math problem and adds a block to the blockchain, they're helping to make sure all Bitcoin transactions are accurate and preventing things like double spending. Double spending is when someone tries to spend the same Bitcoin twice, but mining helps stop that from happening. In other words, miners are the ones who keep the Bitcoin system running smoothly and securely. In summary, to sum it all up, the Bitcoin mining is the process of creating new Bitcoins and keeping the Bitcoin network safe. Miners use powerful computers to solve difficult math problems. When a miner solves a problem, they get rewarded with new Bitcoins and help verify transactions on the blockchain. Mining requires special equipment, uses a lot of electricity, and can be profitable, but it also has its challenges. Without mining, the Bitcoin network wouldn't work as it does today. And that's Bitcoin mining explained in just 5 minutes. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about Bitcoin or other interesting topics, be sure to like this video and hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.